place to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the Lautimes podcast. Welcome back. This is Lautimes, where we talk about Tigres in English, the only podcast doing such thing. Sorry we're a little late. We said 9 o'clock and it's almost 9:30, so our apologies for hopping on a little later than we intended to, but we're back. And we got a full house of lads here ready to talk about the fellas, about Femenil. Got lots to get through tonight, so please help me welcome everybody, pretty much everybody. Mr. Tigres English himself, Lou, down in Austin, holding it down. Edgar, just like me, holding it down here in DFW. I just landed from Nashville, in case anybody was wondering. The pride of Corpus Christi, but in Houston, AJ, and the father of this project,
the former
himself.
The former host.
Shut up, dude. You're still the host.
Bro, if Arnoldo misses any more unexcused absences from Arnoldo, we're changing the name of this podcast to the Lou Times.
I like that. Chat,
Bro,
if you're hanging out in chat, do you approve of that change? Yes or no? Let us know in the comments.
Bro, I'm just so glad that at least now there's an established cadence, you know what I mean? Like, I know that when we first took this on, like, you know, we didn't really know where we were going to go with it. And it was such a hard, even recruiting aspect to get Lou on the podcast. He was always so busy. And now look at him, always sharp, on time, being here. For someone that didn't want to be on committed to a podcast, here he is.
Gotta love the playful jabs. I love it. Thanks for being here, everybody. If you're watching right now on Twitter and YouTube, we really are glad you guys are here. Give us a retweet, a like, a share, a comment on whatever platform you're watching right now. If you haven't followed the account on Twitter, then you should do that. If you're on YouTube, you should follow the channel and click like on the stream. All this stuff helps us get this out to more people. In fact, we already have 21 people watching right now, and we're 3 minutes in. So all that stuff helps us out. Please help us out in that way if you can. And if you're watching live, come hang out in the chat. We got lots to talk about tonight. We need the chat to be active. So please come hang out in there. If you're watching on podcast later, thank you for being here as well. All right. We've got some wins to talk about this weekend on both the men's and women's side. And we're also going to talk about the Clasico Regio Femenil that is happening this coming weekend. And a couple little tidbits at the end as well. But Edgar, once again, has prepared a wonderful outline for us. And we're going to kick it off with the festivities that happen in the Stadium of Santos on Saturday. So Edgar, kick us off with that first part of the outline.
That's right. For our first segment of the evening, Llantos versus Tigres recap. Los Incomparables traveled to the TSM for match day number 7 against Santos Laguna. Tigres was in desperate need of a win after quite a few rough matches. It was a rocky encounter, but thanks to a little Angelito who came to guide this team, Tigres was able to secure the 3 points with a goal from Angel Correa in the 55th minute, redeeming himself after a missed penalty. His past performances have stirred a question among fans and critics. Is Angel Correa the true Gignac replacement?
Llantos is crazy, by the way. That's pretty great.
Bro, the fact that it was so subtle too. That was great.
Exactly. Yeah. 1-0 win on the road. First clean sheet in a little bit. Something I think that we've been really crying out for. I know it's Santos, but to get a clean sheet is always a good thing. Pretty okay performance. Some improvements especially from the Mazatlan game last week. Obviously, Correa scoring that first goal or the only goal after missing the penalty in the first half was definitely nice. Lou, I'll kick it to you to start us off, and then AJ, why don't you follow up after him? Just general thoughts about the game and the performance.
Really happy with the performance. I said pregame what I wanted to see was a clean sheet. That was the priority for me. No mistakes at the back. We accomplished that. Only allowed 2 shots on goal. No. Let's see here. Sorry about that. I thought I had it pulled up. 1 shot on target allowed the entire night. So great night. It's what you want to see. And I thought the team dominated possession, dominated the game overall. I know it's not to the liking of the fans. Fans would rather see the type of scoring we saw against Toluca, for example, or the type of scoring we saw against Puebla. But I think the performance we had against Santos is more of a winning type of performance. I think it's the type of performance we need moving forward, where we prioritize the clean sheet, be solid defensively, don't make any mistakes, and then dominate the game through possession. I think that's the blueprint. I think that's the Tuca way, and I think that's the way we should do it moving forward.
AJ, I'll kick to you next. I kind of want you to start the discussion that Edgar posed at the end of the little script about if Correa is trending towards being a true Gignac replacement. Answer that question as you kind of give your viewpoint of how the game went.
Yeah, so to me, no, I don't think he's the true Gignac replacement. He's never been the number one at any of the previous clubs he was at. At Atletico, he was behind Griezmann. He was never the number one guy, but he was the playmaker. That's what I think he thrives here. I think if we get like a true striker to, if we can use him to get the attention from the striker would thrive here. In terms of the game, the midfield disappeared at times. And my biggest critique of the game was seeing how far Correa was dropping back, and then him having to to bring the ball up instead of having like a defensive mid that was controlling the game. That was probably my one true complaint, but I agree everything with Lou said. The defense looked pretty solid. Clean sheet was what we needed, I think, to boost the morale of the defense. No stupid penalties this game, which is a plus because we've had stupid penalties the last 2 games. But yeah, good overall performance from the defense. Just need the midfield. The midfielders need to step it up if we want to make a deep run in the Liga.
Edgar, why don't you go next, and then Arnoldo. I know Arnoldo, you weren't able to watch much of it, but hopefully you caught some highlights. But Edgar, the question I want to ask you is how impressive is it that Romulo keeps contributing in ways both on the defensive end and then even with the assists to Correa in this game?
I think he's truly starting to adapt to the league, adapt to the team, and kind of find his role in the starting 11. I know for quite a while we talked about how he wasn't a player that was requested by Guido. He wasn't, honestly, probably even a player requested by Pauno necessarily, but I think he's slowly become a very important figure on this team. And I like what I see from him. I think this game, just from the highlights that I saw, definitely one of his top 3, if not top 5 performances wearing the Tigres jersey. And I think he's only going to go up from here.
Arnoldo, is there anything you want to add based on highlights and commentary that you may have seen? You're muted, by the way.
Apologize for that. Yes, a couple of things. So first question was, is Angel Correa Gignac's replacement? By position, not. By hope and aspirations, in terms of the connections from the fan base, yes. I think he's the guy that we've been asking for quite a while. We've had a couple players take a shot at it.
in terms of being that superstar for us. Lately, the latest one, Brunetta. Prior to that, Nando Gorreran with the cartel that he arrived from Santos and being like a difference maker for that team, and then coming on to Tigres after he was brought on by Diego Coca. So from that perspective, yes, I think that everyone's looking forward to see Angel Correa play, not only at Tigres, but as a whole league in general. Everyone's definitely paying attention to what he's doing on the field. I think the stats also give us that indication that, it was the topic that we discussed on this pod prior to, actually, him arriving in the rumors. And then once he finally arrived, and then, as the season was getting ready to launch, we were expecting, or trying to figure out his goal production and assist production. I think that he's definitely surpassed probably quite a bit of the initial, I guess, hope or aspirations that we thought that he could possibly have with the amount of goals and assists, like I mentioned. So I think from that perspective, yes. As far as your question in regards to Romulo, I think he feels more comfortable on the field, still out of position, still doing some great things in the back. Even if being out of position, we're asking someone that for a long time has played at a different position, and even he got some minutes at his previous team as a third center back or as a stopper in the back line of three. I think that in a back line of four, the responsibilities are different. But with that being said, it's sticking true to the identity that Guido Pizarro is looking to establish. He wants to play out of the back cleanly. He wants to be able to have players that are good with their feet, ability to take the ball out of the back and create possession. So I think that the only thing that's lacking there is the full display of that all across the pitch by everyone that's participating, so making goals happen and having that intention displayed by Guido Pizarro. So happy with him, happy that he's stepping up and ultimately giving him a value of a player that is a starter at the moment. So if he is being scouted from Brazil in an initial offer of 5.5 million, you're able to stand on it more from a business perspective, not give in to a player that, even though doesn't fit the overall target of what you were looking to form a team, especially with Guido Pizarro stepping into that role. I think that we're in a good spot with him. I think that he's even sent Joaquim over to the bench because we've seen that it's not for Romulo. Purata is definitely it's Purata and then three more in the back line from what it seems like for Guido Pizarro since he took over at the head coaching position. So a lot said there, but I think that truthfully, can't ask more, can't be upset with Romulo. He's doing what he's being asked to do and more.
He had a monster game, Dennis. Monster game, dude. I mean, 92 touches for a center back is tremendous. 9 passes into the final third. You're talking about a center back making 9 passes into the third. It's insane. 93% pass accuracy, 2 chances created, a bunch of clearances, a block, some recoveries. I mean, the dude was just everywhere on that night, and I think he's just continues to grow into that role. A lot of people were wanting to move him into the central defending midfield position. I don't see at this point how you could. I mean, he's evolved so much as a center back that at this point, you'd rather play Parra at CDM than move a guy like Zwarg out of that position.
Yeah, as far as that question from Edgar's outline, Correa is the replacement. I'm saying what we've all said, but in a different way. Correa is the replacement as far as like having a true face of the team again. Not that we didn't have one, because as long as Gignac is still around, like he's still the face, even though he's about to be 40. But now we have a true superstar, a true face of the team, somebody that we can really build around for the next few years. And hopefully the front office, even though they've been very incompetent lately, hopefully they can, actually try and do things to make sure that there can be success with him as the centerpiece, because truthfully, that's what he is now. I think that's a big reason why he came here is to be a centerpiece type of player, something that he hasn't been able to do at Atleti because of just the other great players on that team and him being more of a substitute as opposed to a 90-minute starter like he is now. So it's great. As far as like position, like I don't know, they'll said like he's not the Gignac replacement in that way, but as far as like everything else, he definitely is. My biggest takeaway of the game is that I just need to see more urgency. I get it. It was August when the game was played. It's now September. Long season ahead. But I just against teams like Santos that are not very good, I just want to see some more urgency. I just want to see a little bit more as far as like our buildup and how we create chances. Mind you, Acevedo turned into freaking Buffon like he always does against us, so that doesn't
Bro,
surprise me.
everyone does. Everyone
Yeah.
always does.
It's crazy. So, but I just felt like in the first half, like we didn't, especially after the penalty, there's just like no sense of like trying to find opportunities. And I know you got to manage the game and there's a balance to it, right? But especially in a 0-0 game against a team that's frankly not very good, like let's go get the first goal and let's get the business end of it out of the way. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but that's just something that I don't want us to continue being in the habit of that, like going into the more important games come November and hopefully December, right? We have a comment. We have two comments actually from a man who would be here joining us, but unfortunately he's just joining us virtually tonight. From Alfred saying, I'm seeing more of a leader profile Romulo than from Correaran and Brunetta. I think that's a very fair take. Mr. Tigres takes. And he's also saying Correa isn't Gignac like Gignac wasn't Lobos. Different type of players, but definitely the new star of the team that comes to succeed Gignac. Yeah, basically what I just said. So
The thing I'll say about Correa, Dennis, is that he's not going to be as long lived as Gignac was. I think Gignac
yeah,
was a freak in that sense that he gave us a good 8 years. I see Correa maybe having a good 4 years and then the slump really starting to take place. Like you'll see a drop off in performance. And that's why I think what AJ said is very important. I think it's this winter window, we got to go out and get pieces, man. We got to go get an elite center forward. We got to get an elite winger, uh, an elite fullback. Those pieces we need to go and get to be able to build around him and take advantage of the fact that right now he's at his peak. And so if we don't, we're going to just be wasting a really good player. And that's the one thing that really helped out Gignac too, is that for a while there, the front office was supplying him with fresh legs every couple years. The squad was being renewed, and that's one thing that this front office has been reluctant to do, at least in the last 3 or 4 years, is to rebuild the squad as it needs to be. So we'll see, but I think that's really important, and that's going to be key if we are going to get the full production out of Correa.
Alfred saying enough nitpicking on Correa. What's the take on Brunetta? Which is fair. I know.
He's been our leader goal assist production in the last 2 seasons. What's there to question and not question the rest of the awful team that we have?
Fair.
What else are we expecting? Like the man has shown up stats wise. Like, do we want him to be the best player in the league? Like that's clearly not going to happen. Do we want his role to be justified more in what we paid for? Like we could say the same thing about Nando Correran. We can say the same thing about Nico Ibanez. We can say the same thing about Diego Lainez. We can say the same thing about Herrera, Ociel, everybody that makes a crap ton of money at Tigres. I think that overall, as long as we continue, yeah, you can call it stat pad, but I mean, we have another talented player on the bench that the only thing that we can hold him to the standard of like he took us to a championship, rightfully so, 2 years ago, but his career has never panned out for what it was projected to be, from the get-go, and that's Sebastián Córdoba. He took a dive from where he inherited the jersey at America, being the number 10 guy, came over to us, after, inconsistent through different coaches, led us on a championship run. Fantastic. Definitely, he was at the forefront, but there was other players that obviously were involved, and I think there was also a coaching, an emotional roller coaster that the players obviously got together and rallied behind each other in order to pull that championship. 2 years later, we talk about the guy, if only he, if he was in it mentally, or if he was in it this way. Like, it's excuses. We surround we give some passes to some players, and we don't come at some of the players that we need to. The guy has scored goals and had assists, playing out of position that he's not accustomed to, has looked good at sometimes, but overall the team in general is a contender for the top 6 teams in the league. But truthfully, we know that we're not, in a position to be the number 1 team. There's other teams out there that have better players at each position, and have the depth chart in order to encounter 2 tournaments at once if needed. We don't. We're looking at players who helped us in the past, got us the championship. That could argue that it was an accident in terms of the emotional roller coaster that those players went through. But ultimately, we gotta just get out of this funk of trying to target players. I think overall the team is just not quality. We have players that should have been players on the route to Europe, and instead of here they're at Tigres. Why are they at Tigres? Because they're not as good as we thought they were. And it's a collection of players. It's not just 1, 2. It's at least 4 to 5 players that have not met the expectations, and then you got guys on the bench that we can't move. So I think it goes beyond trying to target a Brunetta, a Nando, a Laines, Herrera, Nico Ibanez. I think we have a big problem at the root of it.
There's
I'm
things
just
that I
gonna say,
feel like. Go ahead, AJ.
I was just gonna say, direct your anger towards the board. At the end of the day, it's the board that put us in this position. It's not the players. You're constantly switching managers, having one season and they're out. That's
Yeah, it's
different
a consequence
styles.
of bad decisions.
Exactly. It's you're gonna get that. And like I said in the last pod, like we're slowly becoming Man U, where you want change, but you get change, and then you're upset with what you get.
Yeah.
The board is where all the anger needs to be pointed towards. You play Brunetta in his natural position, he's gonna thrive. We're playing him out of position because that's what we have to work with tactically because of what our board put us in, the position they put us in. You want
Yeah,
change, you
like
get rid of the board, and
who,
you get someone that knows how to run a club. Instead of treating it like a brand, run it like a club. That's honestly what they're running this team as. It's a brand more than a club.
well, I think that the brand surpassed the club at some point, through all those championships. So
Yeah,
I don't think the idea is necessarily wrong, but I think there definitely has to be a differentiation where the club aspect supersedes the brand, targets, and you got to get on that path to success again. But even like you mentioned, AJ, like nitpicking off of what you're saying, what if it's not Brunetta, who's it going to be? We're going to bring Bigon off the bench. We're going to bring in Parra off the bench to play his position. We're going to move out Romulo, and then and say, "Oh, we need to bring in Joaquin." Obviously, Guido doesn't see that, and he's there every single day.
Blue, you were about to go on something. Why don't you go ahead?
No, what I was gonna say is that I think that double pivot partnership isn't working out in Brunetta's favor. I don't think Gorriaran brings out the best in Brunetta. Um, at some point, we're gonna have to upgrade that position, and when I mean the position, I mean Gorriaran's position, because I think you could do better at that spot. Gorriaran right now, I feel like is being wasted because he doesn't give you much offensively. And defensively at times I think he slacks. I think if he were to step up his game defensively, then he could become the player that Pizarro wants him to be. But at this time, I think his defensive deficiencies are making us struggle a bit at times, which then forces Brunetta to kind of have a little bit more of a defensive role, play a little bit deeper than he wants to, and then have less production because of it. So I think there's some improvements there. Obviously, if we could get the most out of Gorriaran, then you would see that tandem look a lot better. But as it sits right now, I think it's not making Brunetta look in a favorable light.
That leads me to a point that I want to bring up to the whole panel. And I know that we were going to bring this up at the end because it's at the bottom of the outline, but I think we need to talk about it now. We've had this conversation for the last year, and I hate that we're having to do this again. But the youth minutes problem is a problem. Like, we're only sitting at 200, and there's 10 games left, right? So, and Pizarro has no indication of using anybody other than Chicha and Parra. And when is Chicha really ever going to play? So Parra's going to have to be the main contributor of those minutes, unless for some reason Tapia gets healed from his injury that we have no real information about. I think he's going to have to make a change in midfield at some point out of necessity, unless he's fully content in just giving up 3 points at the end of the season, which I doubt that Guido Pizarro is willing to give that up. So then what happens there? Do you take off one of Brunetta and Gorriaran to put Parra in? I don't think so. I think the change happens up top, where you have Parra, Gorriaran as the pivot. Brunetta kind of slides back into his more advanced role. You put Correa out on a wing, and I think you sacrifice Osiel. And I think that's worthy because he hasn't produced the last few games anyway. I think that may need to happen sooner than later out of necessity. Otherwise, we're just wasting 3 points at the end of the season. I don't know what y'all think about that, but I think that probably needs to happen sooner than later, even though that's probably not ideal.
There's a couple of interesting things there from like the last 3 takes. Going even further to Lou's point about Nando Gorriaran and how that's an upgradable position. Like, think about, as he says that out loud, all I can think is like, what can Chiquito Sanchez give you that like Nando Gorriaran is giving you, right? And that's not a knock on Nando Gorriaran, but what can any Mexican young player that's like has a high motor, every once in a while gets a shot off or a good in between pass through the lines that a Mexican player can't do. That's where, like, even segueing into the youth minutes aspect, Dennis, I think that's kind of where the approach needs to happen. And it goes back even to the bigger root of the problem is we don't have the talent. So he's having to put players out there based on who he thinks is committed, as well as the depth of talent that he has, and trying to juggle that. So is Parra the best option now to supplement and substitute Nando Gorriaran in that midfield to, as you mentioned, work out of necessity? Because at this point, it's necessity because there's no talent all around. You're going to have to plug in whether that's a forward that you're going to pull out of the academy to come in and play a full game against a weaker opponent. Talk about Chicha Sanchez maybe possibly playing out wide, but knowing that truthfully, like, he's not a better like player than Osiel Herrera, even if Osiel Herrera has his consistencies, or succumbing to Parra, coming on the field when we know that like Nando in theory is the better player, but there's not much of a difference that's really happening with the impact of the offensive and defensive creation. So you might as well roll with the minutes and adjust game time with the other areas of the field that you have.
It's now or never, man, because this is the soft part of the schedule. And if we can't get minutes through the middle of October and get the bulk of them, then you're not going to want to do it once the middle of October hits and you're having to play Cruz Azul and you're having to play Rayados and everybody else. So I think he's going to have to make a decision pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, there hasn't been much indication of that because he brought on Parra much later than I would have liked on Saturday. I think he only got like 20 minutes, right? Something like that. Let me look at FODMAP up. Yeah, he only played
And that's what I mean. Like he doesn't
15
feel confident, bro. He
Yeah.
doesn't feel confident with what he has as a roster in a squad. He's making these decisions knowing that like he has to give it something in order for the overall potential success. So the necessity even is more emphasized, like you're saying, because ultimately he's not comfortable. He's gonna have to plug in players as he sees fit. It kind of goes back to 2 seasons ago when I was talking and arguing back and forth with Alfred. It's like I'm not worried about that because like at this point, like there's so many other pressing things in that Guido has to work with than having to plug in a youngster. Which, if we lose the 3 points, I don't suspect that he's that type of competitor and coach alone. So I think that he's gonna figure it out and plug in people. But again, out of necessity, because he's not comfortable with the depth of his squad. So he's just going to have to make odd changes. And odd changes meaning like pulling in Parra for complete minutes over Nando or Brunetta combination there. And then going out with Chicha Sanchez or possibly, another striker position.
Here's a question that I want to ask that's kind of going away from the game, since we don't really have much men's team stuff to talk about this week.
Hold on. We're not going to talk about the missed penalty of Angel Correa? We're okay with the missed penalty?
I mean, it's a decent save.
The third in his career?
Huh?
The third he's ever taken in his career?
The third PK? Really? That's only the third PK he's ever taken?
According to Bayo.
Really?
He wasn't taking him at Atleti like that. Not with Griezmann.
So you're telling me Brunetta can't take him as the official PK taker prior to him arriving?
No.
I mean, I judged him before I knew that stat. Knowing it now, I do question why we let him take it.
I would agree, Edgar. I love the guy. He's been a great. I mean, the goal was fantastic. He misses a PK, but then scores a banger. Like,
yeah,
right.
Hard to argue that, right? But ultimately, I definitely was a little surprised, and even knowing that stat, even more so now, the fact that he was allowed to take the PK. I guess you're on a scoring run, keep it going, right?
Right. Exactly.
Do you trust the rest of the guys though taking PKs?
I trust
the
Gorri.
The ones that were on the pitch.
I trust Gorri and I trust Bru, but that's it. I wouldn't trust Cancelo.
Brunetta was the PK taker. And,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't trust any of those guys, to be honest with you.
Lou, you don't trust anybody because we're not that good, Lou. Let the audience lower the expectations. We're good enough to get in there between 3 and 4 and 5. Get our hopes up, and then see you later, alligator, in the first round.
If a series has to come down to PKs, I used to be really confident back in the day, but that confidence has gone away. And then take into account the fact that Nahuel hasn't stopped the PK.
Been awful.
He hasn't stopped the PK in like a year and a half, bro. It's been a long time.
The last time he stopped the PK was when Arnoldo and I were in LA for Campeones Cup. Oh, there you go. Great question. Why aren't the captains taking that ball? Yep. I'm telling you,
we don't have a true captain though.
These two captains,
that's a bigger topic within itself, AJ.
Yeah.
We don't have a true captain. We don't have a true captain.
Just because Brunetta and Nando were the armband, we know who the captain on the field is.
Yeah, we don't have a true captain.
Yeah.
We don't, because we have in theory multiple, right? But that even a minute detail can go a big stride in terms of what that means on the field. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Alfred. Like I said, I don't want to make too much of a fuss about it. He missed the PK, he scored an amazing goal after that. Like, kind of hard, but Lou, confidence definitely not as high as 2017, 2018, 2019, even 2021, dude. Nico Lopez guaranteed goal off the PK.
Yeah.
Now think about who shot a PK in the last 2 seasons. Andre, Nico, Brunetta. I don't think Nando has shot it unless it was in
Ozzy took one.
Oh, there we go.
That Gignac let him take. Yeah.
Gulo took one at Campeones Cup. He scored the last one.
Yeah, but that's in a shootout. I'm talking about
Yeah.
in game.
In a game, yeah.
That's 4 PK shooters right there. Andre, Nico, Brunetta, Nociel.
Hey, and if we're being honest, Gignac's not as effective as he used to be.
No, because dude,
That dude used to be automatic, bro.
yeah, and dude, it was so predictable, but you knew it was not going to be stopped, and then he decided to change it out of nowhere. He started missing something.
Bro, the Columbus one, I'll never get over it, bro. Never get over the fact that he goofed it up in the Columbus one.
My man, look at him. There's a reason why he's thinking to take.
Muratovic! That's crazy.
So I just didn't want to get that part overlooked, but there is a positive though. You mentioned the name, from not so much of a positive impact there with not having stopped PKs. Now it was mine. Another shutout. Continues to increase the record for most shutouts as a foreign goalkeeper in the league. I think he's definitely going to own that for a very long time. I think he's, one championship away from being called the best in the history of the league. I think that right now he's up there with Cristante and what's the guy from Cruz Azul? Miguel Marin.
Marin.
It's probably the best in the league, and obviously driving the capital and centralized media, they're gonna drive Cristante and Marin more, even though a lot of people give the respect to Nahuel. But I think that was something also to highlight. Anytime Nahuel Guzman gets a shutout, that's a win in terms of legacy and impact in the league.
He's at what, 198 shutouts,
bro.
if I'm not mistaken,
I think
nearing 200.
Rafa Rivera and Rafa Dato 2 or something like that is the only one that actually keeps up with that stat. But yeah, just wanted to highlight that as a positive there.
My favorite part of the podcast happened a few seconds ago. The appearance of Edgar's dog. I'm sure that will not be the last one.
Probably not.
See?
Lou, you said that Fellow said we're gonna sign one player in the winter, or in this transfer window, and then one in the summer, or
He said Pello mentioned it on Monday that he still thinks we're going to land one player this window, which is kind of a weird thing to say because I think all the windows are closing except the local market. So I guess at this point, if we do get anybody, it's going to be from the league, from within the league, whoever that might be. And then he did mention that Rosales is like really wanting to come to Tigres, so he thinks in the winter window we're gonna get Joseph Rosales after all.
That wouldn't surprise me considering that. Sorry, one sec, AJ. That wouldn't surprise me considering that Minnesota has had a good season. They probably don't want to lose him with the playoff run coming up, and they're also in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal and have a chance to potentially win that competition and make Champions Cup next season. So it would not shock me, like you said, Lou, that he comes in the winter because they probably don't want to lose their left back before that.
Yeah.
So,
but see, at that point, I don't necessarily want him.
Why, Edgar?
What? You're telling me we can't land anything better with 4 more months?
Yeah, that's the disturbing part. It's like we're, a month and a half, 2 months into the season, and we can't land players.
Bro, it's not only that. It's not only that, Arnoldo, is how we can't offload players either.
Bro, pinche
like
Marcelo's still on
we
the
can't do
roster,
anything
dog.
of anything. Like there is no negotiating anything within this institution. Like the previous regime used to go out and get El Queso Fernandez, keep him here. He wouldn't do anything, and they'd still sell him. Yeah, they still land them somewhere. And like, you mean to tell me we can't land any of these cats? Like, I think Arnoldo's gonna end up losing his beard because of this thing, man.
Yeah.
It honestly makes the sell of Rayful even more shocking. The fact that it even happened in this.
And we got a couple million from that.
And we got millions from freaking Samir, and we haven't done anything since then.
But think about how long it's been taking us to sell Samir.
Yeah,
a year plus. Took
And that
a
was
bum
like
Saudi team to do it.
that was the agent doing the devil's work and getting that recruiting out there and getting it happen and getting calls because it wasn't due to Tigres playing the guy. The guy tanked in value. And that's what's happening. Like, you know what AJ said? Like, we should be angry and flustered at the board. That's where, definitely has all validity to what's going on. Is we cannot offload a Juan Pablo Vigon so we can bring in a younger player. We can't offload a Marcelo. We can't offload a Cordova, Antuna, who you recently brought. It's just Tercero. I mean, and why would you, right? Like if you're Tercero, like how many times? I forget where I saw this. When's the last time you saw a contract renewal announcement for Eduardo Tercero?
Like 3 years ago.
But truthfully, Edgar, like, is it 3 years ago? Or like, you think that it was 3 years ago, but like, you've never heard of a contract renewal since he arrived, like 8 years ago, almost. It feels like 7 years ago.
I mean, if we're being honest, I feel like I heard it from a third-party source. I didn't hear
Yeah,
the
like
statement.
what is going on? Like, how is this man attached to the club with no contract renewal announcement over the last 7 years?
Bro, why didn't we use him as a bargaining chip when we got freaking Farfan? Like, why couldn't we have not spent any money on that deal and just swap the both of them and send him to Dallas?
Hey, Lou, what does this mean by him saying this?
He's an industry plant.
He's an NPC in Fortnite. That's what he
Yeah,
is.
bro.
Think about where he was like loaned out. It was the same two teams,
What was
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Carlos, somewhere else.
Cholos and bro. Let's look up Eduardo Tercero's career real quick.
It was Lobos WAP. No, it was Lobos
Oh
WAP.
yeah, Lobos WAP.
Well,
Yeah.
that doesn't exist anymore.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then we have a guy like Torrado. So, I don't want to turn too much into a fuss moment, but it's like that's bringing it back full circle to what AJ said. That's where the frustration lies. We cannot sit here as a fan base. We can definitely criticize. We can definitely root for our team, but we cannot definitely be blinded by the fact that we're not as good as we used to be through a consequence of bad decision after bad decision, I don't even want to call it bad signing, just wrong signing at wrong times per the consequence of having different coaches within a span of like 2 years.
Yeah, and it's the whole package because it's bad scouting too. I mean, at what point did you say, "Hey, let's renew Eduardo Tercero because we really need him on the squad"? Like, what were you looking at? That what info did you get from the scouting department to say, "Hey, yeah, this cat, we need him"? Because he's not even a bench player. He hasn't been a bench player because he's never a true option at any position.
Yeah.
And
The scouting department said he's the life of the party.
if you needed filler, you could get filler from your youth squads.
Academy, exactly. Like it's hard to defend the team's posture when it comes to youth development, and I know that we're not a youth development team, but it's like you have guys on the bench sitting that you can potentially fill in with guys literally from the academy.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? Like one of our last youth players to leave, who was actually somewhat talented, Ronaldo Nájera, and I was reading this a couple minutes ago. We sold him off to Atletico Flan Luis, and now he's going to go play second division in Spain.
Yeah, for a trial
Yeah, I
run.
saw that.
Right?
Yeah, I saw that.
So we produce talent. We just don't give him opportunities.
Justice for Bisuto. Am I right or am I right? I'm kidding.
That's another one.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, why is he's literally only here for the kid drops. He doesn't.
Dude, I was gonna say, just to like close this like segment out with the men's team. Truthfully, like what I'm really curious as to how the fan is perceiving all this, right? Like, are we being cool, calm, and collected with knowing what the product that we have at hand and how it's being used, and understanding that it's a process, or do we have these false expectations that like we're vamos a robar la liga and we're gonna win and really make a run here? I really want to just kind of like I feel like we're at a point in the season where we've seen a good overall shape of what Guido Pizarro's tenure has looked like, what the players' adaptability has been to his style and the way that he wants to play, and as well as the overall coming together of the squad. Like, do we have a really good analysis of where we're at with the team and like how to take on every game that Diaz plays on or plays in?
I think the standings kind of show where we're at. I don't know. I think the where we're at in the standings is where we're at as a team. From a fan perspective, I don't think there's anybody extremely confident about where we're at as far, especially when it comes to player personnel. Like we're really a couple injuries away from being a play-in type of team, if you think
Yeah.
about it. I mean, it's the reality, and Guido's taken a lot of criticism, and I think it's unjustified just because I feel like he's making do with what he's got. He took a team that doesn't have any depth. He took a team with a lot of inconsistent players, and he's brought out some good ones that were kind of lost. He's gotten the best out of Purata. Zwarg, I think, looks a lot better from his first season. So there's a few players that are looking better under him. So that to me that's the positive, right? I feel like we're in good hands. We have a good manager. We just don't have the pieces. I think like it's clear that, for example, Osiel Herrera is going to be inconsistent throughout the season. We don't know what he's going to give us day in and day out. We're short at the 9. You're playing. You got the option of playing either a really old Gignac, an inconsistent Nico Ibanez, or a very limited Gacelo Lopez. Like those are your 3 options. Like you could literally fuse all 3 together and maybe put together a decent center forward right now, but you don't. And really, your standout talent is Correa, but a lot of times with inconsistent midfield play, he doesn't get to shine as bright. Uh, the one thing I'll say about our fans, though, a lot of fans I think have been targeting certain people. They've been targeting Pizarro, they've been targeting Purata, they've been targeting Nico, they've been targeting Brunetta, whoever, name it. And like you said, Arnoldo, it's not on the performance of one player, right? Like we can't say that the games we've lost were on Purata because he was terrible defensively, or where we had low scoring games, it was all because of Nico Ibanez. It's that attitude from the fans. I think that gets me is that they're just not seeing the overall picture and not targeting their anger at the right people. And I think that's one thing that we can do as a podcast, right? Is to kind of put some of these things out so people realize what truly is going on.
Yeah. And I think that we just have to be a better fan base from that perspective. Like understand that our team has gone through a lot historically and has had awful moments in our history. Obviously going to second division, potentially going in 2009 era around that time. Resurging and like establishing a big old run from 2010 all the way to 2023, just about, and being relevant and fighting for hardware. And I think now we're just holding on to those little runs with some of the players that have been inherited throughout the last couple of years. But it's not going to happen. Like we need more talent. There needs to be a big surplus of investment into this team and getting back to that number 1, number 2, highest wages or highest squad worth like that we were used to seeing for a long time.
Edgar, I love your dog.
She needed a front row seat for these takes.
Look at her ears, bro. She's all perked up. I love it. All right, I'm ending with a question on the men's team. 2 questions, actually. Everybody, rapid fire your answers. First question: do we sign anybody else before the end of the transfer window? Yes or no?
No.
I don't have confidence that we're going to sign anybody.
I'm gonna go no.
I'm gonna say no as well. I think that that train has long gone.
I'm going to say no as well. Follow-up question: do we offload anybody before the end of the window? Yes or no?
Ooh,
I'm gonna go
no.
yes, and I think it's gonna be Flores. I think we're gonna find the last minute spot for him. Fingers crossed.
Peyo said today that no one's willing to take him, but Peyo hasn't released anything like worthwhile in a long time.
True. Alfred saying no to both. AJ says no. Edgar,
I
I
don't think
assume
I
you.
don't I don't think we can afford to with the depth. We have no depth, you know. Like we can't afford to offload anybody because, like Lou said, we're two injuries away from being a playing team. And then who are you gonna plug in? You know.
Bro, I can't wait to see Juan Pablo gonna come off the bench.
Oh boy.
Even though
If
I
any,
love
if it's gonna be anybody, it's gonna be Marcelo. And if worst comes to worst, then Chicha plays his minutes, little minutes that he would get, and we need the youth minutes anyway. Here we go, Alfred. This is what I want to see. Tuna sandwich to the rescue for all the haters.
is he
Come
still
on now.
hurt? Is he
No,
still
he
hurt?
came back. He played on Saturday. He played
Oh,
like
did he?
yeah, he played like minutes, if that. No, not even. He played just extra time or just out of time.
I love that for us. 3 minutes
So
of playing time and top 3 salary on the team.
crazy. Crazy. Yeah. That's it about the men's team. I had something else, but I'll save that for another episode. To the women's side, Femenil. Edgar, talk us through Chivas.
All right, switching subjects. Chivas versus Amazonas recap. Last Amazonas secured 3 points in their visit to Guadalajara against Chivas Femenil. 2 goals from Jenny Hermoso, a goal from Diana Ordóñez, and 1 from a familiar face brought the total to 4 for Las Amazonas, while Chivas was able to secure 2 behind the net. It's clear that there's faces stepping up to lift this team, but are there some who are struggling to pull their weight?
I will say, the last 2 games for them have been much better. The goals are there, better performances. Not too much. They're not like world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. But there's some improvement. And to see that after you sell Hawaii, it's good. It means that there's not a huge drop off as of right now. Now, big games are coming up, and that could potentially change that opinion. But I think it's fair to say that to get those results and to score a lot of goals in both those games is good. Even at the expense of Nati Villarreal, who forgot that she was playing for the other team instead of Tigres this time, which we'll appreciate that. But it was funny seeing her score an own goal. I know a lot of us couldn't watch it because of the time and just the weird scheduling and broadcasting situation that Feminine always finds itself in, especially on the road. So, any other thoughts besides what I just said?
Why does Pedro Loza hate Jennifer Corginali?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, that's gonna be another. You remember that player? Well, there's been a couple actually, and not saying I think that Corinali is night and day in terms of talent compared to the players that I'm about to mention, but that's what happened with the Australian player Alexa. Was it Alexa Chidiac?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And then after that with Edgar's girl from AC Milan. What's her name? Evelyn.
No.
Nah, but EJ was
That
she was a scrub, man.
Yeah, but then she went to go score some goals. How did she score 2 goals in her first game at when she went to go play AC Milan, but couldn't, dribble a ball here at Tigres? Again, I'm not comparing. What I'm bringing that to light is in terms of it's almost like every once in a while we have a player that doesn't get the chance that should get, and we have all these other players that get further chances, and the coach is less likely to make decisions around them than the players who, in this case, the change needs to happen, like Cordonali getting more playing
Right.
time.
She's uber talented, man.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
ball striking, her IQ, link up play, I think is really strong.
Playmaking, shot ability,
Yeah. Oh my
finishing,
gosh.
everything, movement.
She's a gem. And the fact that she's not starting still, and she's healthy now. Like, she's not injured like she was at the start of the season. Like, that really bothers me because I think that if you put her in a starting role, whether it's as the true number 9 or you put her underneath Ordonez, who's also been really good this season, she's going to be great. And I don't understand why there's a disconnect there.
Is there not a world where our offense looks like Ordonez and Cordinali and Hermoso playing behind them, and then Tembi and Maria Sanchez out wide?
Yeah, that's called the 4-4-2 rhombus. Not sure why he hasn't tried it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's such a hot, let Jenny play. It gets her into that position that she likes to gravitate towards, like playing further back and deeper, but also having the ability to move forward with the ball, create passes. She's in great form at the moment, but you have someone that's going to be more active in Cordinali and chasing around and distributing the ball up higher and having the ability to transition quicker than Hermoso. And then you use Tembi and Maria Sanchez. Maria Sanchez has never been a player who you question effort and is going to defend. I consider her a two-way player. And then that just leaves Tembi and Ordonez to counter. And so I feel like there's just so many possibilities with Tigres Femenil. And for a while we were asking, like, hey, we need to add depth. We need to add depth. We got the depth, and then here we are. Still lacking some in some areas, specifically the midfield. 2 foreign spots available, and again, shooting ourselves in the foot by keeping those foreign spots available, as well as a certain persistence with specific players and not giving everyone a chance to succeed.
And then it's going to be interesting to see once Mari Carmen Reyes is really fully fit, how she fits into the squad. That's another tough decision for Pedro Losa. I just don't see a world where you sit Mari Carmen Reyes and you continue to play Mayor or Hermoso. One of those has to get dropped, in my opinion, to make room for Mari Carmen Reyes, and if not both. Honestly, if you were to play like a 4-4-2 rhombus, you could play Mari Carmen Reyes at the central attacking mid position, and you could move, for example, Aaliyah Farmer to the holding mid spot. She does more of the defensive duty. Mari Carmen does more of the distributing, and then you have Ordonez and Corginali up top. So to me, that's the more athletic midfield. Instead of going with the slower legs of Mayor Hermoso, you've got now a more athletic faster midfield where you match up better
Young.
against like the America, for example, because America continues to roast us, and I think that's where you need to make the moves, and Pedro Losa has been very reluctant to do so. So to me, I think that's what's going to end up killing him is if he continues to stick to that 4-2-3-1 with Hermoso and Mayor, and then you continue to be slow at the mid, and then you get roasted in the big games.
I like where your head's at with that, especially considering that all of our center backs, all of our defenders are pretty healthy now. Like Ferral was dealing with some injury issues to start the year. Greta in the last season was dealing with stuff. So it's nice to see them back in the fray, and I like Farmer at the center back spot. I do, but I tend to side with you, Lou, in the sense that I think that she would thrive more as the holder, as the 6, in front of the back line. And I think in a 4-4-2 that'd be really fun. So Hopefully that happens, but with this bum as the coach, I mean, honestly, he's a
Yeah.
bum. I just got to say, he is a bum. Um, I don't know if that's going to happen. But I think that also depends on how quickly Mighty Carmen is able to get back in the fray. I mean, there's still no real indication of when she's coming back. And the later we go into the season, like, how realistic is it that she will have a big role in Liguilla? Like, to be thrown into the deep end that quickly. Maybe out of necessity, sure, but realistically, is that possible? Who knows?
That's what's frustrated me about Tigres a lot is that I feel like Femenil has the personnel but doesn't have the coach. And then the Varonil in the men's side, we have the coach but don't have a full squad. So it's been kind of frustrating to watch how on the women's team it's just bad coach after bad coach, and when we do have a lot of talent on that squad, and then it goes wasted, and then on the men's side, we just can't put together a really truly competitive squad.
Speaking of feminine, let's since we didn't have too much eyes on this game, let's go ahead and talk about this weekend's game, a very important game, as we all know. Clasico Regio. Edgar, are you there? Or do I need to read off the okay, you're there. And your dog's still there. That makes me happy. Go ahead.
All right, if I can get my outline to pull up once again. Clasico Regio Femenil. The first place spot of the league table is not the only thing in play for Las Amazonas for the upcoming match. Tigres Femenil prepares for the most exciting match of the season as they host Rayadas for match day number 10. What can we expect from Pedro Losa on the upcoming encounter? Will it be a cakewalk or a sour encounter?
How is Rayadas doing? Honestly, I've not been keeping up.
They've been struggling this season, man. They've struggled against weaker opponents, and they've struggled against the tough teams. I think they continue to slump. That's one thing that I've been seeing from Rayadas after that second, even on that last championship run, the team started to slump. And they're kind of in a little bit of a free fall. They don't have the talent that they used to have. Obviously, losing Rebecca Bernal was a huge blow to them. They're not as scary as they used to be. So I think this is a very winnable game for us as long as we come out with the right intensity, don't make mistakes. That's what's been killing us against them is that we've made a lot of mistakes versus them. We've sort of shot ourselves in the foot. But to me, this is a very winnable game. Not only that, I think we can win by a good margin. I think it could be a 3-1 game, for example.
I think it should be pretty manageable. The games that we struggle against them recently haven't been at home. It's been at the BBVA. When we play them at home, we get positive results most, if not every time. It's just over there we're cursed currently, based off that final and even that quarterfinal that we played against them last season, right? Like
Yeah.
just bad performances there. I don't think we'll have much of any problem this weekend. Maybe I'm being a little bit too overconfident, but we're also just a better team at home ish. Depends on who we play. But I think we'll be fine. I think we should win by 2 pretty easily.
2 seasons ago, we blew them out in CONCACAF, and then we blew them out at home as well. We had really good results. So hopefully it's sort of like a repeat of that.
Any predictions from you, Arnoldo, or AJ, or Edgar?
I think we definitely win. I think that I could still consider us the better team. It's always a challenge playing against Rayadas. I think they've had our number recently, especially with the cups. But I'm still confident. I think 3-1 is definitely something, or even a 2-1 that could happen.
AJ,
I'll go 2-0. I like their defense. Our defense can clean it up at home. I'll go 2-0.
You and Alfred both.
Midfield just needs to step it up, and I think this is the game that they can gain their composure. But this, like Lou said with Losa, there's really, I don't know, like with certain managers, you see a style of play, and I don't think we've seen an established style of play yet with the squad, where week in, week out, it's the same. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a tiki taka with Barca. Like it's like just go out there and play. At least to me, at least watching the Femenil with Losa, there's no set style of play. But the midfield, I think midfield needs to control this game, and we'll win comfortably.
Edgar, your prediction?
So I'm leaning more with Arnoldo. I think it's going to be a 2-1 or a 3-1. I think we're going to ball out, but Rayas is going to try to fight back, definitely.
Okay. I'll officially say 3-0. That's where I'm at. Okay. Last little bits here. Running a little short tonight. Shorter than usual.
That's fine. Let's go. Time to go to sleep.
La hora de la Biblia in Houston. The night is young, my friend. Anyway, couple things. So, on the original men's national team list for Mexico, Purata, Lainez, and Nociel were all on that list. Nociel is not on the final list, but Purata and Lainez are. Please, no injuries. Por favor y gracias. Fingers crossed, prayers up, because that team is cursed. They play
Japan.
They play Japan on Saturday, and where's that game at? Do we know?
Oakland.
Okay. Oh yeah, because they just got robbed.
They got robbed. Yeah.
And then on Tuesday they will be in Nashville against South Korea. And then I think the games later this year are all back in Mexico, which is where they should be. But yeah, hopefully if they for some reason make an appearance in a game, hopefully they do okay. But honestly, I hope they don't touch the field, and I hope that they don't get killed in training. That's my opinion. Correa was not called up to the final Argentina list, but that's okay. Gives him more time to adapt here with the team. So I'm not too upset about that. We already talked about youth minutes. Something that's not on here that I feel like we should bring up, and it's actually Alfred that's just something in our little group chat, a video about it. There has been kind of a rumor recently about De Rosen from Club America being linked to us, kind of. I don't love that because he's very inconsistent. He has talent, but he's very inconsistent and very I don't think he's produced ever since he's come over. Like he should be a nailed on starter based on his background and his European experience, but he hasn't been very good. At least in Liga MX. He honestly was better for LAFC in the 3 games that he played for them a few weeks ago. So I don't like that rumor, and Guido apparently addressed it tonight and said the same old "I'm happy with the squad" sentiment that he's been kind of saying in press conferences recently. Is there any opinion on that? And then also the goalie that we're being linked to as like the Nahuel successor. I don't know if that rumor is even true.
Wait, I haven't heard that rumor. What's the rumor, Dennis? What's the name of the goalkeeper?
Let me find it because I have a feeling it's Chicharron, but I keep seeing it, so I don't know.
I just wonder why we're looking at goalkeepers when we have Tapia. Are we not content with Tapia? That's kind of weird.
I think that one's fake. I don't recall what the name of the dude was, but to me, that one didn't seem credible. The Javairo thing, that one kind of is concerning now that Guido has acknowledged it. I don't think that's the type of player that we need necessarily.
Okay, so the name of this guy is Tomás Marchiori, who plays for the Les Sarsfield. Brother looks like this. I don't know anything about him, but that's That's something that I've just seen floating around the internet. It's just probably
Why why
Chicharron.
why would we use a foreign spot on a goalkeeper?
That makes zero sense.
Yeah, I just don't see the logic of trying to go after a foreign goalkeeper when there's decent Mexican goalkeepers and we have a decent Mexican goalkeeper behind Nahuel. And I don't
Exactly.
even know if Nahuel's even ready to retire yet. I mean,
No.
so to me that's one that I just don't see it. As far as Javairo's concerned, does he even to me he's normally played on the right wing. Lainez is being okay as far as productivity is concerned. I think he's been very regular. He's playing a lot better than previous seasons. I don't see him coming in and taking that spot. So then now the one spot where you truly could play him is at the left wing, because Ociel does need competition, but you're trading one inconsistent player and then and adding another. So you got Ociel who's very inconsistent, and then now you're bringing another player who has shown to be inconsistent. So I don't see that as being a good move for us, tying up a foreign spot on a player that, while at our league, didn't do much of anything. I mean, he scored that one golazo on us when he flew by. I don't know who it was, Angulo or Purata or whoever. But other than that, he hasn't shown anything. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that Culebro goes out and does them a favor, but that's a topic for another day.
I
Don't
would
be
much
shocked that
rather have.
don't be shocked that our
Sorry.
board would do that move. Like honestly, at this point, don't be
Yeah,
shocked if the board pulls that move off. Like honestly, they probably will, and give in to say, oh, the fans, y'all been wanting us to use the foreign spot, and they're using it on a position we don't need. But like I said, our board doesn't know what they're doing up top, and I will die on that hill.
I'd rather have Idrisi if we're gonna go after a winger from our league that's a foreign player that has been linked to us. Like actually, I'd rather have Idrisi. And even then, I don't know if I really want him. So
yeah. Between those two, definitely Risi. I'd be kind of curious to see what Alfred thinks about that since he's the one that posted the link.
speaking of Alfred, I want to go back to this Guido Rodriguez thing because I have done a little bit of research. So West Ham was not willing to let him go recently, like before the transfer window ended in England yesterday, because they needed another midfielder to come in. From what I'm seeing on Twitter, there is a midfielder that is a free agent that West Ham wants, and if that were to happen, because this guy's a free agent, Josh Brownhill, and it wouldn't affect having to deal with a deadline. In theory, Guido could become available in that way, uh, but I don't know if we even try for that. I mean, there won't be much market or much competition with anywhere else in the world. There were some links to him being wanting to stay in Europe, but I do see that besides us, Turkey still has their window open, Saudi Arabia still has their window open, and I believe Greece does as well. So if he wanted to stay in Europe, he could end up at like I don't know. I'm not saying he wouldn't end up at Galatasaray, especially now, but for example, a team like that. Maybe not Fenerbahce after they just kicked out Mourinho, Horitz, and Alvarez. Um, but I don't know. As much as I think a lot of us want that to happen, I think that's still very unrealistic at this point, considering his situation more than anything else. The fact that he's even stayed at West Ham is a shocker to me, but the fact that he has makes it to me feel more difficult to get him out of there now because they don't have a lot of numbers. Rotondi should be a target. Well, I would love for that to actually be a thing, but Again, I don't know how realistic that is either.
Yeah, the Guido Rodriguez rumors have been pushed by all the RG guys. I feel like there's never been anything credible on that end, and from Guido Rodriguez's side, it feels like he's more willing to go to America, if anything. Um, like he hasn't shown interest in coming to Tigres, so I don't see why that would be a credible rumor at this point.
I agree. I don't think there's any other rumors besides that, so we'll table there. Hopefully, we will get some rumors or some sort of links to people over the next couple weeks. But this front office, don't get your hopes up, people. Last bit, the Leyendas game happened on Sunday. Not a huge crowd at Volcan, but a decent crowd for what ended up being a win for the Barca Legends. 3-2, 4-3. I can't remember the exact score. 3-2. Some highlights. Lucas Lobos with a free kick golazo, just like the old times. A low light for Rafa Sobis tearing his Achilles and having to spend the night in the hospital here. Even though he did say, I would do it all over again if it meant being in Monterrey and having the experience that I did. Edgar saying, since he has left the call, would make sense for America to want to offload someone to make room for Guido.
Yeah, and that would be our favor to them, right? We take
Yeah,
a guy they don't want and then go out and get Guido Rodriguez.
yeah,
So we would just
ridiculous.
further strengthen their squad.
Exactly. Drinker! Late to the party, but he's here. Legends played so much better, not gonna lie. I mean,
The Damian Alvarez cross to Mancilla, man, that was beautiful to watch.
Missed
I
that on the
wish
swimmer squad.
I wish our wingers could cross like that, man. When you have players that can cross into the box like that, it makes the center forward's job so much easier.
yep.
But we haven't had that since Damian Alvarez left, pretty much. A guy that could consistently make good crosses in.
Sucks. Love it. But it looked like it was fun. Looked like it was a good atmosphere. Romulo and Sobis having a little bit of a relationship was cool to see. Like there was a video of them talking at the facilities over the weekend, and then Romulo was even in the crowd. He was one of the only current players that I think was there at the game on Sunday. I don't think a lot of the other guys were there, so that was cool. I'd bring back Gringo Torres and Damian in a heartbeat. They both carried. Gringo
46.
Torres.
He's saying that 46-year-old Damian Alvarez is better than Ozzy Herrera in his prime.
Better than
Facts.
Antuna.
Speaking of Antuna, getting Javairo would be another Antuna taking the competition scraps they don't want. Well, that's a good way to put it.
He ain't lying. So I think we're pretty much all in agreement, right? We wouldn't take Davido at this point.
Absolutely not. No, thank you. He should have just stayed in LA. He was doing decent over there. Well, I guess he couldn't if they were going to sign Son Heung-min.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other thing. All
Hey,
right.
speaking of LA guys, the one winger I would take is from the Galaxy. I'd take Paintsel.
Oh, okay. Would you take Paintsel or would you take Peck?
Paintsel
Okay.
on that left wing.
Okay. Paintsel is definitely the better. I think he's the better player. Although I think Peck is the better talent because he's a freak as far as like in transition. He's got insane amounts of speed. In fact, I think they got a loan offer from him or for him from some team, I think in Brazil or in Europe for like 18 million or like a loan and then the buy option was 18 million. I mean, he's worth that much. So Patel is probably, and he's younger. Patel is probably the more realistic option because he is older. He probably won't go back to Europe like he did before. I don't hate
That's
that
the
idea.
that's the one market I feel like we haven't really looked into, and there's some good talent out there. For example, Atuesta is a pretty good midfielder.
Yeah,
You got, for example, Martin Ojeda from Orlando, where we saw Orellano from Cincy last year, pretty
freak.
good. Evander, good player. There's some good players out there. Paints was another one. Um,
De La Vega.
De La
I
Vega.
like him too, Alfred, but he's young, and Seattle's not going to let him go to Liga MX. He'll sell him to Europe.
All of their guys are expensive. I mean, Obed Vargas looks so good, dude. So good. I mean, the way he owned Messi in that final, but it's just that money. The money aspect of it is tough.
They
But
need
that's the thing. Like, if we get in early, do some good scouting, get in early on some players, like there's a market there, and they're not super expensive. But it seems like we have no kind of relationship. I mean, like for example, to me, Marcelo Flores would have been a guy that you can kind of offer to an MLS team, and we didn't.
Yeah,
Purata's the only guy that I've seen that we've actually dealt where we loaned him to Atlanta United. But other than that, we haven't made too many transactions north of the border.
Do you think like our scouting overlooks MLS, or do you think it's just we just don't,
I
like you said, we just don't have relationships?
I think it's both. I think our scouting doesn't look, and I think our guys are just so incompetent that they don't have very many avenues. It feels like we've shut the door on a lot of stuff, man. Before we used to be able to go get guys from all over, and now there's like this really narrow window where we're getting guys. Tigres take said, "What scouting?" Yeah, that's right.
it's like only South America, and even then, it's not like an in-depth like look at South America. Like at least not like before. I'd say.
Honestly, I don't hate the fact that we're going into the Brazil market. There's a lot of good talent there and potential. Like I was happy with Joaquin. I was happy with Zwarg. I think we've kind of done well there.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Anything else?
that's all I got.
Antes que nos vamos a dormir. I can tell. I can tell that face. I can tell.
You've just experienced me work the entire time since I've been on this podcast.
We could tell, dude. You were multitasking the whole time.
Yeah, bro is locked in like nobody's business. Oh man.
Hopefully, we were good background chatter for you, bro.
I was engaged the entire time, Lou. Don't come at me with that sideways stuff, bro.
I mean, this is your podcast after all, bro. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. You could just shut it down after tonight.
No, I don't want to shut it down. You got to remember, this is my intention when I started with is give us a space to talk about something that
Facts.
for such a long time I thought that it was only available to me, which was speaking about Tigres in English. Like growing up, even though being born in Monterrey and being so proficient in speaking the language, my thoughts are dominated in English. So as I engage more with my American culture and friendships of growing up, like at sports, especially around it, it's like you can't stop to thinking of speaking about the team in English. And as I got older, it was like, we need to do this. And luckily, like we were able to start it. And I'm just at a point where like it's very, very hard for me to like lead this. And I'm so glad that we were able to find a community online. And even though like we don't agree on all fronts, at least we have the space to. And I've said it in the past before, like that's what we got to thank the players who, that just finished the era recently and put us on the map and gave us that spotlight to talk about Tigres. And because if not, we would just be another part of the pack team, middle of the table team, sometimes contending or not, but we managed to break through and here we are talking about it. So I'm super grateful. It makes me very happy that we've had AJ now join, especially with Alfred. unavailability at the moment, and in mine at times. Lou, I know, always gets busy. Edgar at times can't make it. Dennis travels for work, so I'm always gonna like encourage more people to come on to potentially replace me if I'm not able to get on, or some of us, as you know, life happens, right? But the cool thing is that we have the space, and let's continue to rock with it. Hopefully, we get more people to see us and engage with us, and even if we don't take on the most professional aspect about it on all fronts, we're here, and we dedicate the time to rant and have fun with it. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, if you're expecting us to be professional, listener, viewer at this point, go somewhere else. We're not that.
We're pro enough. We're pro enough.
I think the professionalism was lost when we decided to name Luis Quinones in like 15 out of 18 podcast episodes.
Hooray!
Yes, he got brought up, baby. We hadn't brought him up in like 3 pods, dude. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Never let that guy's memory die, bro.
Hooray! Especially dealing with what we're dealing now, like it sure doesn't seem as bad having Hooray Quinones on the team.
No, it does not.
Some of those
No,
other
it does
guys
not.
that we could have had now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Assist king or second assist king.
I got
Yep.
2 things real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Quick little game. I was walking through. There's a mall in Nashville that's right by the Grand Ole Opry, in case anybody's never been. I was walking around it yesterday, and I saw a guy wearing a jersey of a Mexican League team. Can you guess what jersey that was? Like what team that jersey was for? It's not a big club. That's my hint. Not a big club.
Current club or like former club?
Current.
Oh man.
Necaxa.
Nope.
You were at Opry Mills Mall and you ran into a guy wearing a Pachuca jersey.
Nope. Drieger says Atlas. Nope.
Puebla.
Sí, Pueblita, güey.
That was gonna be my second guess, Pueblita.
Bro, and I couldn't recognize it because it wasn't a home one. It was away. It was a white one, like mostly white, a little bit of black, I guess. So I had to like squint my eyes a little bit. So it was weird. I was like,
Puebla has some ugly jerseys, but
"Ate perdido."
they definitely look like what a Volkswagen would look like in a shirt.
That's accurate. That's accurate. All right, viewers, listeners, I will leave you with this. The next few times that you will see us recording or posting an episode, I'm not saying that the next episode is going to be a special one, but I just want you to know that we have 2 special episodes coming relatively soon with 2 very special guests that we are not going to reveal tonight because what's the point? But I just want y'all to know you should tune in for whenever that happens because it's going to be awesome. That's all I got to say. Shout out Lou for all the work that he has done and help securing those guests. And it's going to be very exciting. So, again, we don't know when that's going to be because we're having to work around those people's schedules. But just know some fun episodes are coming up here on Low Times. Ain't that right, Lou?
That's right. And hopefully we can bring on some more. If there's some interest in doing some in Spanish, I think there's an opportunity to bring on some more special guests.
Yeah, I think
we can polish up our Spanish. I think we still remember the mother tongue. So
this dude talking Spanish, saying we. Are we talking French too? Who's we?
all of us, bro. We're multilingual in this pod.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna struggle. Poor AJ is gonna struggle. Like, ay Dios.
Yeah, but you guys can chime in. Like this, that's the cool part about it, right? Like,
I'm just kidding. Yes, I know.
I'm gonna have Google Translate open when the whole pod's going.
That's the cool part about it, though, right? Like Lou has all these connects and has established so many relationships by being the only, source of English information for the club for such a long time, and he's built so many friendships and connections that it'd be foolish not to take like advantage per se of the situation and bring on Spanish speakers as well, Lou, and even like for us to, drive the conversation around the Spanish English, dual language audience that we have, and go that route as well. I think that no matter what, we bring points to the table, whether those are thought out in English or Spanish, and we can deliver them and get the people what they want. More perspective about our club, to the good and the bad.
Give the people what they want. Come on now.
All right, I'm out, guys. You guys keep me past my bedtime.
Drieger saying, in reference to Lou, is it his twin?
Oh,
No.
I wish, dude.
And it's
I would.
and it's not Edgar and Alfred's twin Romulo either. So
You know who would be really good to get on? Excuse me, I'm sorry. El Gringo Torres. He made an appearance this weekend.
oh yeah.
Dude, I remember I've shot my shot a couple of times on Instagram, but Lou, that might be more coming from your account. Might do.
Yeah, we can give it a shot and see what happens. For now, we got 2, and I think we could probably land another 1 or 2 more from there, and then
I think
take advantage of these international breaks too, to kind of put some content out. And then I think a lot of it is also educating our fans. I think that's part of our job as a podcast, is to make sure that the fans stay balanced. I think it's important, right? We don't want to be a crazy raging fan base. I think that's also, at least to me, it's important. So there's a lot of things we can talk about, not just Tigres specifically. Like if we bring on some guests that can just talk the game in general, I think that's also important.
Yeah, shine some light on different areas and topics that even not fully related could be indirectly related.
Yep.
Yeah,
Rage.
Gringo Torres would be a good one. Hercules Gomez would be a solid one. I'm sure you got a bunch of
Yeah. Hercules, you and Hercules interact a good bit, Lou.
Yeah, Lou's been interacting with everybody. Dennis, Lou knows everybody.
Come on now.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about Hercules. I'll see what he says.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta hop off. I gotta take this call.
All right, take your call.
Bye-bye.
I'll officially sign us out here in a second. Yeah, so just know, listeners, viewers, we got fun stuff coming up on the way. So we will let you guys know when those special episodes will be coming out. Because again, we got to work with people's schedules. But I'm very excited. It's gonna be great. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here on lautimes. We may have one of those special episodes later this week. It may happen next week. Who knows? Next week, in our normal recording, we'll recap Femenil Clasico. We'll look ahead to the men's team getting back at it next weekend, and we'll go from there. If you haven't already, you should follow all of us on Twitter. Our handles are on the screen if you're watching, but if you're listening on podcasts, they're also in the show notes. You should follow this account, lautimes, everywhere. Helps us go a long way. And we'll be back next week. So, gents, thank you for joining me once again. And arriba la U. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being here. For now.
Peace.